having us on their traditional territory. I say that at the beginning of every speech when I'm here. It means a lot more today when we're talking about this particular project and the day that's in front of us. I gotta say, it feels a bit like deja vu all over again, hey? Gotta get together every once in a while, because some motorhead in Calgary says, hey, I've got an idea. Let's drill for coal bed methane up at the headwaters of all your major rivers. We all gotta get together and say, no thanks. Then some other motorhead says, I've got a better idea. I'm gonna put some open net fish farms out here in the water. And we all gotta get together and say, no thanks. Then somebody else says, better yet, let's drill for oil. And the heck it straight, because we all need that oil. We all get together and we say, thank you again, but no thanks. Now Enbridge has shown up. And when I met with Enbridge almost 2 years ago in a big fancy office building in Vancouver, one of the first things they said to me is that they got together a little poker game. And they went to their friends and they said, why don't you all put in $10 million each so we can get this project off the ground? And they put together 10 friends and they got $100 million to do this. And they thought that would impress me and it's supposed to impress you as well. My first question to them was, are you sure you want to do this to yourself? Are you sure you want to come up to the Northwest and try to convince people that their water doesn't matter, that their land doesn't matter, that the fish that sustains us don't matter? And Enbridge, being an oil company, can only think about oil, figured it was worth it, and here we are today. I was sitting in there earlier, as many of you were, looking at that panel of 3 people, wondering, how on earth do we believe that those 3 folks have the wisdom and experience to make a decision like this? How on earth is it possible that those folks can sit back, listen to all of us, and then make the call? Now, we can talk about numbers, and I think the numbers are actually important, because more than 250 super tankers bigger than the Empire State Building are planned to go out of this port here, go down the Douglas Channel, and then make 3 90-degree hairpin turns before going out into the ocean. What kind of insanity is that? What kind of madness is it that someone sits down and draws that map and says, yeah, that's a good idea. We know this place. We know that water. We know the weather. The idea that for 50 years, every year more than 250 of these massive ships are going to head out of this port and not make one single mistake is lunacy. Doesn't happen. The idea that you can put an 1,100-kilometer pipeline from here across all those mountains, across all those rivers, across all those traditional territories, all the way to Alberta, 1,100 kilometers, and not have a major spill is idiocy. The idea that you can do all this and then double the size of the tar sands and not have an impact on this poor old world of ours is madness. We must stop the idiocy. We must stop the madness. It's time for the lunacy to be over. We need common sense. We need a green economy. We want one that we can go to bed with, sleeping well and easy, not worried about a pipeline breaking, not worried about the impacts of the tar sands upriver, or about some ship and some drunk captain running into an island and sinking the whole damn thing. We need a better place. We need a place that we're proud of. Now, a lot of you heard about the Kalamazoo spill. It almost sounds like an old country and western song. I remember the Kalamazoo spill in Michigan. Something a lot of folks don't realize is that after that disaster, unmitigated global disaster in the Gulf of Mexico, the U.S. government, through the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, asked a bunch of oil companies to review all of their projects, take a look and make sure everything was safe. Enbridge has a bunch of pipelines in the States. They did that 5 days before that spill. 5 days. Enbridge submitted a report to the Environmental Protection Agency and said, our pipelines are solid. 5 days later, 3 million liters of oil went into that river. This is a company that says, you can trust us. We don't make those kinds of mistakes. They say that anybody that talks about oil spills is just fear-mongering. Anybody that talks about ending a salmon economy, an entire way of life, an entire history, is just raising up this specter of things that don't happen. Ask the people around the Kalamazoo River. Ask the people in the Gulf. Mexico, they're living it right now. We don't want to live that. We want to live in a free and green economy. We want to live in a society where we raise our kids up knowing that the future is better than it is right now. Now, we're all here in Kitimat. Kitimat's going through some tough times. There's no doubt about it. Kitimat, in a way, is symbolic of much of the Northwest, whose economy has been ripped out underneath us. We send our logs overseas. We send our fish overseas. We send our minerals overseas for somebody else to add value to it so we can buy it back at better prices. And our government says that's good for the economy. They call that foreign investment. Even if you like oil, even if you're an Albertan oil guy, you got to be sitting up in northern Alberta saying they're going to move raw bitumen down this pipe. They're going to move raw bitumen down this pipe into tankers so somebody else processes it, and we get left with a big muddy hole in the ground that you can see from space and that we're left with for generations to come. How is that right? From all angles, this project is wrong. From every angle. Now, I got to tell you, I got it, bottom of my heart, you are an intimidating group to stand in front of. The Northwest is an intimidating group to try to represent in the House of Commons. I woke you up out of bed. Hey, my twins woke me up out of bed this morning. You got nothing to complain about. But when I walked in, I just said hello to those nice folks at the NEB. They're nice people up there. And I said, how did things go in Alberta? And they said, well, we had maybe 8 presentations in Whitecourt, Alberta, where they presented. And here they're making space for more chairs and more of us to get there because people here care about this. People have not given up on the idea that our environment must not be pitted against our economy. People here believe in a future together. Yeah? Absolutely. Absolutely. One last thing and I'll be off. One last thing. I believe in you, brother. I believe in you. How about we chat in a sec, and then we'll talk. All right, brother, I'm standing here and I will be moving. Here's the thing. I'm so proud of you folks all coming up here and coming out on a Tuesday morning to let folks in the federal government know what kind of community future we do want. They will hear our voices one way or another. They will not make this pipeline happen. They will not put those tankers in the water. We will not be responsible for doubling that Tarsands nightmare in northern Alberta. We will stand together. We are all one voice, but together we are many. And together those many voices mean a lot. And it doesn't matter whether you're Enbridge, whether you got $100 million, whether you're Stephen Harper sleeping with oil executives. We will stop this thing together. Thank you very much, everybody.